السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Masjid Carpark podcast, episode 32 or 31 or 33. This is for Shaykh Khalid's benefit. I'm going from 31 to 33.
We're 32.
Yeah, I know.
Episode 32.
Episode 32.
Welcome. And we ask sincere apologies for those regular listeners. I do apologize, and we do apologize. I apologize on behalf of our team.
It's been a crazy few weeks.
It's been a crazy... we're trying to get back on track with our lives. I think those in Melbourne will appreciate this.
Get vaccinated, people.
Yeah, let's not get into that. I'm over that. We'll never talk about it again. I promise that.
There's only one thing I want to say about that.
What?
It works. The vaccination works. I was
Alhamdulillah.
exposed to very, very extreme COVID cases. Alhamdulillah. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Didn't catch anything.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, my son got it. My extended family got it. Alhamdulillah. Because of my lack of socialization with them,
He's just a grumpy old fool. Even COVID
Stay away
was
from
like,
me.
even
That's
COVID
normal.
was like, don't bother with this guy.
No, alhamdulillah, everyone's recovering and on
Alhamdulillah.
their way to recovery. Alhamdulillah. And,
Yeah.
so
Any
it's all-
any long COVID symptoms?
one of my, I'm not sure yet. I think it's too early to tell, like long term.
Yeah.
But they're talking about memory loss and different.
Really?
Yeah. Long term, because it affects the brain.
Yep.
So Allah protect, but it
Ameen.
seems to be, it affects different people differently, I guess.
That means I've had COVID for like 30 years. My memory is shocking.
Yeah, your patient was zero maybe. Yeah.
So it wasn't the Wuhan virus. It was a virus. It was the Wajid virus.
Yes.
What have you been doing? What's been happening? What's been happening the last month? Tell me about your
Just-
childhood.
No. Actually, today I was picking up some camera equipment from a brother
From
and-
another mother.
in the eastern suburbs. And then I said, I'll take this road because this is where I used to walk to school, primary school. So I actually took the road they used to take and the golf course.
You went down memory lane.
Yeah. I went around the block a few times where I lived.
Did you have any tears? Like,
No, not really. But
that's where I got bashed.
I went past the garage where I had a full-on
Oh,
fight
really?
with these two feral kids
You
in
did?
primary school. Yeah. So I just looked at that and just had a laugh, chuckle.
won?
No, they scared the hell out of him. Like I went like berserk. I was throwing stuff, but they came into our garage or something. I can't remember. It was like primary school. So I went past that and then I went to the park used to play, and then a few blocks from my house and a few streets from my house, and then went past where my prime school used to be. Jeff Kennett sold that, like all the other schools in the 90s, where we put a time
Bro,
capsule.
can you
We put a
imagine-
time capsule there.
Is it
We
still
buried
there?
it. I don't know. Like we put it in 1988 during the centennial.
Can you imagine that back then you knew about these schools when he sold them and you just bought one?
Yeah, we can say that about anything, Like if Bitcoin came out, I would have bought it. If like you can say that, you can say that about
that's flown the coop,
anything
mate.
and
That
everything,
bus has left
like
the station.
first adopters and early adopters,
Yeah,
So
Well-
that's just life,
it is.
So, but that was so I just it's just 3 hours ago. I was driving.
Oh, just tonight.
Yeah, on the way here. Yeah, so I said, let me just delay that, brother, a
That's
little
why
bit,
he's got
5
that
minutes.
twinkle in his eye, listeners.
And the
that
golf
little
course,
slight
which doesn't
tear.
exist anymore in Doncaster, where I used to go and we used to we used to find the lost golf balls that have come to the fence.
You heard it here, folks.
We used to have so many golf balls in the house
Did
for
you
no
play
reason.
golf?
No, we just had golf balls because we get it for free because they come to the edge of the fence.
That's
But-
like the most ethnic thing I've ever heard. It's free, take it.
and then we didn't know what to play marbles with it. I don't know what to do with it. But it was just
free.
there,
Yeah.
Yeah, our school is no longer there, our primary school, and but anyway,
How do you feel about that? The fact that your primary schools no longer existed.
it's kind of sad because there's a memory to that, and it was a big primary school. Okay, we had it's Doncaster, so they had their own football oval, separate soccer oval, 2 basketball courts. It was a big school.
That's the rich schools, man.
They're not rich. It was Doncaster in the.
Yeah, see,
In the-
he's got nowhere to go with this. He's got absolutely
It was just
nowhere
a
to
big
go.
open area because even the freeway has not arrived then.
Did you hear that?
Doncaster was not fully developed like in the 80s and early 90s. It just
Was this before the freeway?
the freeway only went up to High Street in Doncaster.
Damn.
It didn't go past. There's no East Link at that time. It didn't even go up to Springvale Road. Springvale Road was built when we lived, like we saw it getting built up to there. Then we saw the tunnel, the Mullumbimby and all
Wow.
that.
I remember the tunnel, but
Yeah.
I remember up to Springvale Road.
Yeah, even up to there, they were selling people were selling their houses, and because the freeway was coming through, but they made a mistake. There's a mistake
Massive
because the
mistake.
freeway, as soon as they arrived there, what happened? The price all shot up because now you can get to the city like 15
No
minutes.
time.
Yeah.
Subhanallah.
So it was a weird time. The 90s
I remember a few years ago, we went on a road trip with the family and we went to my old primary school in Whyalla.
Oh, okay, still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
They didn't
Saint,
get a
Saint
Jeff.
Teresa's
They
primary
didn't get a
school.
Jeff Kennett.
They didn't. It's a private
So
school.
for those who don't know, they may be
South-
too
that's
young.
South
Jeff Kennett
Australia.
was a premier in the 90s, a very popular premier in the 90s. Like he bought. I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's seen as a good thing, like Crown Casino and the Grand Prix and all that sort of stuff.
The fact that you have to explain who Jeff Kennett is has just made me feel really old. What the hell?
I saw him once. Where did I see him? I seen him twice actually.
Everyone's seen him, man.
Yeah. I saw him
Everyone's
in
seen
Hawthorne somewhere. He was.
He's just a chiller.
Yeah.
Right. So when I went to this primary school, it was quite. It's quite surreal because as a child you imagine everything big. Everything looks big.
Oh,
And when you go back and it's like, is that it? That's where I used to play. Is that how small it is?
Yeah.
Like it was quite strange. But this weekend, what do I do? Oh yeah, as soon as lockdown finished, promised the kids. They've been itching as well. We're going bush, so we went on Saturday. Lake Eildon, massive setup, like because other people were joining us. Huge, like it took hours to set up.
Doesn't sound
First
like
night,
fun.
no, it wasn't. First night was really cold,
Yep.
so everyone went home.
Oh, no.
Bro, we undid everything. It was good. Look, some of the walks were good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my usual camping experience. So yesterday we just went boogie boarding down in Torquay 13th Beach.
Oh,
Went
nice.
down there. It was good. That was nice.
Yeah.
That was nice. But the
Yesterday's
undercurrent
weather.
was
Yesterday
crazy.
was Melbourne Cup, the race that.
Oh yes,
the race
that stops the nation.
stops the nation. Yeah.
Did you win anything? Who'd you bet on?
No. So, but
How much did you
it was a
lose?
New Zealand horse that won, wasn't it? Yeah.
I haven't. I have no idea what's going on. I'm still recovering from this weekend.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I'm exhausted.
We
today.
just moved as well. I'm in tired as well. We moved the whole madrasa, like the books and our from one like so
mashallah.
sort of finally settled in Heidelberg. This is our alim course in Hifz Madrasa, Kashf Ulum. So we
for the next 6 months anyway.
for the inshallah not because there's been a
Inshallah.
lot hectic 1.5 year, and alhamdulillah like we sort of settled in Heidelberg. So that was like just moving. Books don't look like a lot, but like if you have like books
It adds
sets
up.
and just moving them like from upstairs downstairs, loading them into truck, then unloading them there.
Did you
then,
make a chain?
Yeah, but let me tell the students, any of our students that are listening who did not come, I was very disappointed. Like in the chain was very short, put it that way. There was missing holes in the chain. It was alhamdulillah. Ahmed was here and other teachers.
Mashallah.
He's a teacher and others students came.
A previous student who is now a teacher.
Yeah, mashallah.
Wallah
Maulana
Ahmed,
Ahmed. Yeah.
mashallah. Congratulations. So if you need any help, bro, just come and ask me.
Yeah. So what's been happening?
What hasn't been happening? This has been quite an eventful a month.
Well,
in this
if
time
we
we've
don't
had-
do a podcast for a month, then there's going to be a lot of happening.
No, but even when you do week by week or every couple of weeks, okay, stuff happens. But I think a lot happened in this last month that didn't.
Yeah.
That was just out of
biggest
the
thing
ordinary.
is that, of course, as Victorians, especially Australians, but Victorians especially, we came out of the lockdown.
Alhamdulillah.
and,
Rabbil Alamin.
um,
And vaccination. Now we're not going for zero COVID. We're now just looking at vaccination rates.
Yeah, 90%. We almost 90%. I think 80% is confirmed.
First jab, second jab.
Second jab, I think. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
So we're
80%
getting.
second jab is confirmed.
Yeah, I think so. It was
I've
over
got
the
no
weekend.
idea what's going on with
I think it was
COVID.
over the weekend.
I got over it.
It was 80% over the weekend. Yeah,
Okay.
it was ahead of schedule. And 90%. It shows you the anti-vaxxers are an extreme minority.
They are.
Most people just got on with it and just got it and it's all right. Most people just quietly sensible and just get it done.
But just speaking of that, I don't really want to harp too much about this, but I met a nurse that works in emergency department. Now, I don't think the media is actually telling us how extreme the situation is in the hospitals.
Yeah.
Like she was, and we're having this. We were just having a conversation, and she was like, "I don't like the fact that I'm desensitized to death now."
Oh no.
Right, and she's just like, people come in, and one patient was like, "I don't have COVID. It's not real." And he's like, "Well, I just tested you. You do." 3 days later, this person's begging for the vaccine because they're so sick, and she's like, "It's too late."
Yeah.
Right, so it's strange times.
Yeah.
What are you looking up?
Because someone from Victoria, quote unquote, a mufti.
Oh, that was hilarious. That guy is not a mufti. He can't be a mufti.
Well,
Where's the proof of it?
Well, they said he was mufti.
Yeah,
It's
but-
all anonymous. So,
Man, but I could write a
so
letter.
someone sent a
and say
letter
mufti
to South
from
Africa to an
Falkland.
organization called the Majlis. Now, the Majlis is a magazine of, quote unquote, the Majlis Ulama, but it's really just one person. So it's not a Majlis. It's just like
So,
one
so
or
it's
two
not actually Majlis Ulama South Africa.
No. The main body is there in South Africa.
What's that called?
Jamiat Ulama.
Okay.
And Jamiat Ulama in Johannesburg, in Fordsburg, they have their center. I've been there. Jamiat Ulama in KwaZulu-Natal, which is a province, another province, Durban. That's another Jamiat, like it's quite established, linked to the main one, but it is like a sort of its own entity. And then they got MJC, which is in Cape Town. These are like the three.
These are the major
These are the
ulama
main
organizations.
Yeah, these are the main one. Then you got Majlis, which is this sort of feral. I don't know how else to describe it as an Australian. I'm assuming I heard that it's
Redneck?
I heard no. I
Of the
don't want to be
Muslims?
rude, but like I heard it's a senior alim, but
Okay.
but the way he writes or whoever writes this stuff because it's anonymous, nobody's name's on it. But the way the person from Victoria wrote it, and the drama that I'll read what he wrote. Since the start of the pandemic, we have taken the anti-vaccine stance. All right,
Who's
we
taken
have
it?
fought this guy from Australia,
Muslims or him?
huh?
So, see that letter I got. It's just
Yeah,
coming
who's
from him,
we,
bro.
mate? You and
Yeah.
your family, or like who?
Him in his WhatsApp group.
Maybe. We have given various talks on different platforms. I haven't heard anything from you guys, highlighting the harms and have circulated your fatwa far and wide. So Majlis wrote a fatwa, which is so disgusting because Mufti Ibrahim Desai, rahmullah, of AskImam.com fame, who's considered a very conservative, senior, AskImam.com is like one of those fatwa websites, like an institution.
For the world.
But the way, because he was so anti, Mufti Ibrahim Desai was anti-conspiracy theories and so forth. So he was called by this supposed majlis, what was he called? Basically almost munafiq, and takfir was done to him. Called a kafir and like
That's a bit full on.
and boot licking and this type of language was used for him. It was like really nasty piece of work. So, I mean, the ulama, I guess, tolerated, but nobody pays attention to him in South Africa anyway, I guess. But however, they say the way this is the Australian writing. Whoever
Yeah, but this is the Australian guy that
Victorian
claims to be,
writing.
that
I would say
claims to be-
because he says it as well.
but that claims to be a mufti.
Well, they say that a mufti from Australia wrote. I don't know who
Yeah,
this is.
but that's my point.
In Victoria, Australia, we have been in severe lockdown for months, curfews, helicopters, riots. I don't know which Victoria you're in, mate. Like, I don't. Not every helicopter that flies over your house is.
No, but even the helicopter one was hilarious because the Channel 9 debunked it. Channel 9 said there's a helicopter over a park.
Riots.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about the protests that were in the city. There's like 1,000 people in a city of 5 million, and they went a bit. I think we feel we're in a war zone.
Nah, bro.
Read it there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We feel we're in all because of a vaccine. It's made us all doubt it further. Now the unvaccinated
Guys,
cannot go to the masjid.
It took us ages to get to this podcast because we had to go through all the riots and that. This is how
Yeah,
committed
the
we are.
minefield was very difficult to cross. You know,
This is
we don't want to lose any limbs when you get to
This
the
is
podcast.
how committed we were.
But anyway, we go to the masjid. I mean, the people that talk about people talk about it now because Dan Andrews, the new laws that present pandemic laws, right?
Yeah, we're going to discuss that. That
Yeah.
one we need to discuss.
That
definitely.
just it's up for discussion in Parliament, right? People are saying, even some sheikhs are saying, this is like dictatorship coming. But the problem is, the storm that is whipped up about that is the Liberal Party and Liberal Party lawyers. You know, have a look at
is it?
Yeah, of course. You know, and they're talking about this is illegal, but actually, if you look at it, it's maybe a statement of truth, but there's falsehood behind it. It's actually to bring down Labor, which has a very strong hold in politics in Victoria.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Murdoch Media is very liberal anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, and the laws are actually more transparent than what they are at the moment. They're more structured so to deal with the pandemic properly. But anyway, let's leave. That's a separate issue. We won't talk about that. Leave that for another time because it's still under development. It's still consultations are going on with legal experts and so forth. But it's a storm in a teacup. But some Muslims have fallen for it, like
Many Muslims have fallen for it
the
now.
propaganda, you know. But anyway, without understanding the nuances of state politics and Australian politics. Now that the unvaccinated cannot go to the masjid for salat, and even this is the question, there is a $10,000 spot fine. The unvaccinated cannot go shopping or enter public spaces.
Well, they can.
They can. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's not true.
Yeah.
Yes, all essential things you can go for. You can
No,
go
but
into,
even normal shopping now, until you've got till November or December or whatever.
yeah, like specific things you can't, but not general shopping. General shopping you can go.
But even shops,
Yeah, essentials, that's part of essentials.
like clothes and stuff like that,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can go.
Unvaccinated cannot travel or work. Yeah, that might be true to a certain degree. You
Yeah,
cannot travel
yeah.
Yeah, innumerable people have lost their jobs and cannot travel to their. Everybody was in lockdown till now. Children cannot attend Makatib Masajid, and there are many. Well, our masjid is opening now. Salat has restarted.
Yeah, but during the lockdown, which makes sense that
It wasn't targeted towards maktabs and masjids. It was for everybody. And masjid opening up, and we're actually reopening our maktab. The plans have been put in place. Make sure it's COVID safe, etc. As an example, we tried to resist the suppression right till the end. Oh, you braveheart! We will not give. What's that? Freedom.
they will never take our freedom.
However, now as we are cornered, is there any concession for us by the Sharia? Every day I get scores of calls. I doubt it. As people are immobilized and cannot function.
He's a mufti from Victoria.
I've been firm on my stance, but to what extent would we resist? I'll appreciate your advice in this matter. This is the answer.
Or do we want to go there?
I'll read like a few bits of it because they're kind of
specific-
hilarious.
but
The
the answer's not
repression,
specific.
oppression, and governmental brutality are on the increase in Australia. The country is perhaps the worst and vilest link in the Bill Gates conspiracy. I mean, it's nonsensical from the word
Has Bill
get-go.
Gates even been to Australia?
The regime in Australia consists of human specimens who are pretending to be insane. All right, I don't know what that means. Brutality is a carefully plotted scheme for the attainment of the nefarious objective of the group of human devils who are the engineers of the pandemic fraud. Most governments have been bribed and co-opted into the massive satanic plot. I mean, one thing you got to give about this, he's made good use of a thesaurus. Be this
I
as it
was
may
just
be,
about to
from
say
the
it's
Islamic
so
perspective, it is
complicated.
imperative that understand that nothing happens. All right, he says something about deen. The pandemic plot will run. It's divinely ordained. I mean, I'm gonna be reading this. Somebody's gonna just clip this and just. I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
No.
But anyway,
The Doncaster's Imam is against
like
the
in all
pandemic.
countries, Muslim Australia are a disgrace to Islam, and the Maulvis and Sheikhs are the worst. All right, Allah's azab is commensurate with our rebellion and treason. The more we sin, the greater. Yeah, that's understandable, but not. Come on, like picking on the Aussies, we're not that bad.
So what
I hope we're not. Inshallah, Allah make us better.
The world's in chaos because of Aussie Muslims. All 3,000.
Yeah, the
of
half
us.
million, whatever we are in Australia. And
0.001%.
what does he call the vaccine? The potion of Iblis.
Nah, that actually sounds like a movie.
Yeah, it's like some.
Take the potion of it.
There are not the slightest vestige of doubt in satanic artifacts being haram. When confronted by the brutality of satanic regime and one lacks the ruhaniyat, spiritual stamina to resist and bear the hardship, then it will be sinful to submit to a zulm, cruelty, and justice. Anyway, saying you can take it, but you have no because you don't have a choice, basically.
But that's just painful reading and painful listening.
Anyway, so people, I don't think when people in Australia talk about oppression, maybe go visit your Afghan mate and or Syrian mate or the guy, or if you have if you have a Korean, ask them what oppression looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have any idea. Those from countries that don't have oppression per se, you know.
My thing is, if it's so bad, go back. Is that harsh to say?
But the whole world is following this, so where are you going to go?
No, what I'm saying is, if you know how people say, "Oh, it's better back home," or "This country's better," or if it's so
I
bad
told,
here and you can't handle it,
in
go
our
back.
madrasa, there were students of madrasa. I said, listen, whether you believe it or not, it'll be in your interest. And I probably don't like this approach from the government personally. It's more of a thing, but I can see their point of view because they have to protect the whole community, right? But I said, someone said to me, because I'm not going to come to madrasa study anymore because you're I said, I'm not mandating, I'm an organisation. We're an
Oh,
organisation.
you actually had a student say that.
Yeah. But then I sent a message the other day and I said, listen, not to him personally, to the whole madrasa teachers and students. I said, you will have to end up, if you want to travel overseas or you want to get a job or you want to study anywhere else, you'll have to do it. You're giving me a hard time because you think you can pressure me to not take it. But as an organisation, we are liable and we expect it to, if we're creating a public space or people that are gathering, we have to only, and rest is on. And I said, we're not an online madrasa, we're an on-site madrasa. So if you're coming on site, then you'll have to take it. So you got 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and alhamdulillah, everyone's agreed. Like I said, look, you're gonna do it. You have to do it everywhere else. There's no choice in the matter. So anyway, the point is like it's a band-aid. Just rip it off and just move on with life. Like 90%
get on with
plus of Australia, they've decided.
Well, wait till the booster shot comes in. What's going to happen then?
People. By the time that everyone's done the first two, it's not a. I think, and people start having babies and families again. It doesn't make you impotent and you know. So, but let's move on. Speaking of, I can't bother with that stuff. Like it's I think that article or the question, because it got sent to me from two different sources. Ulama, South African ulama, they think, what, like, why is Australia even asking this guy?
But I think it says Mufti from Australia, right? Isn't the job of a Mufti to do his research and to be, like you said, be real with what he's saying rather than creating all this hype? I don't think this guy's a Mufti. He can't be a Mufti.
It's not the representation of the ulama of South Africa. It's not this is a misrepresentation.
No, but I'm saying the guy that's Mufti from Australia, he can't be a Mufti the way he's writing.
What do you mean? He's ideologically, he's an anti-vax. Whoever he is, it's an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's basically fitting the Sharia according to his conspiracy theories.
I could write a thing and just send it and saying Mufti from Australia as well.
Yeah, anybody could do that. Yeah,
from
exactly,
Victoria.
Yeah.
Right, I just make.
I'm the Mufti of Abdul Wajid.
Although my Islamic knowledge is vast and deep, I'm not a classically trained Mufti.
Yeah, he's like not classically trained. Sorry, that's a good section of words. Look, I think to misrepresent our situation, to fit a narrative. There's a lot of that happening today, not outside of Islamic issues.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's
just go to Reddit. Just go to Reddit.
Just because you feel sorry for yourself.
People are misrepresenting everything. I think this is a complete misrepresentation, and of course, whatever nonsense that's going to come out of
just be safe.
Majlis's,
don't go out in the riots. Just watch out for the war zone. When you see helicopters, switch your lights off. Just be safe, people. Did that sound believable?
Yeah, I think they probably feel these people. These people are probably going to feel silly. Given the current, everything's opening up, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, everyone's just going to get on with their life. 10 years down the track.
You went camping, that Melbourne Cup yesterday.
That was the best feeling, like whatever it was, hard work, whatever it was. Yeah. Just to get out bush and walk into the middle of a forest and all you see around you is trees. And you're in the middle of a forest, so of course you would. But it was awesome. And bonfire. Nice big bonfire. Happy with that.
I would. Last thing I just want to say regarding that, because I don't want to waste my time on
bonfires
that.
Or the
totalitarian military police states. You need to go live there a few days and see what. Go to one of the Middle Eastern states or go to one of the.
One day.
Just spend a day and just go to North Korea and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I think you're living in a bubble and you're not in touch with reality about what a totalitarian state looks like. I think the idea of calling what we have oppression, it might have been mishandled and whatever, but
just the fact that you can say that we live in a totalitarian state or that we're oppressed is proof that you're not in an oppressed state.
Exactly. People abuse St Andrews online. Nobody's going to come knock on your door.
Yeah.
People go on the news, protest. Yeah, the protest they handled because they were in the middle of a lockdown and they were in the lockdown and they were doing that. But now you can go. Where are the protests now? Go protest now.
But do you know we're not the most locked down city in the world either?
Well, who was?
As everybody's claiming.
Who?
No, I can't remember. I think Brazil. There was some city in Brazil that was complete.
Okay.
What it looks at is you got to look at the same. Compare apples to apples. So what are we talking about? Lockdown. Are we talking about you can't go out of your house at all? Are we talking about just essential work? There were some cities where people couldn't leave the house for a couple of weeks, like literally leave the house. But what happened was just because over a period of time, it just sells papers, newspapers, sells website clicks.
Yeah.
Melbourne is not actually the most locked down city in the world. That is a fallacy.
I don't know about that. That's
no. I've read it.
Okay.
On the internet.
In the developed world.
In the developed, yeah.
Okay. Probably just add that onto it.
Melbourne is the most locked down city in Victoria.
What's been happening, probably one of the biggest thing that probably happened in the last month is Dave Chapelle
Oh, you're going straight to Dave Chappelle here. Okay,
No.
just
So he
to
did-
say, we have a screen here where we
So I went to the
write
last
down what
topic
we're going to talk
instead of
about,
going-
and he's gone to the last topic, but he spelled Dave Chappelle as Dave Chapel. right? Right.
which means slippers.
Chapel, thongs
Thongs, yeah.
for Australians
Yeah,
anyway.
it's flip flops.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So Dave Chapelle
is
the closer.
So he did a stand up. Now, as we know, Dave Chappelle is a Muslim, maybe not a very practicing Muslim.
He says that himself. I'm not a very good one.
Yeah, but he does
But
say that he's a Muslim.
Yeah,
alhamdulillah.
mashallah.
But
Alhamdulillah.
and he's like considered one of the greatest comedians, and some say the
He
greatest.
is. Goat. He's the goat.
Yeah, well, let's say that greatest
Richard
of all
Pryor
time.
is the other one that's
Yeah,
compared.
he's up there anyway. But it's interesting that in the last 5 or whatever specials or whatever comedy, it's comedy, right? But it's a lot of social commentary, and he's earned the ire of the
LGBTQI.
the trans community and the trans
Yeah, it's
LGBT, but trans specifically.
yes.
And they went after him, like they've been going after. He's not funny, so you see the like. He's basically gone after the gatekeepers of Hollywood. He's gone after.
Yeah.
He went after everybody, and they trying to cancel him.
Well, he didn't go after anybody. He just
Yeah, but
said
they
it like it
they
is, in
feel
a
like
funny
they're under
way.
attack. So then, like Netflix employees that are LGBT or trans, whatever, they came out and protesting and against him to cancel his special. But it's not going to get cancelled, and he got paid $100 million for the 5
did he?
for 5 specials in 5 years. Yeah,
I'd put up with pain if.
yeah, $100 million. Yeah, I think he got paid for the 5. But he said, if this is what cancelling looks like, he goes like he got standing ovation at some place. So he said, if this was cancellation, I don't mind it, you know. So he's like, it's just an interesting cultural phenomena that here is a person who basically exposes the mental illness that some people are suffering from, and tries to explain to them like, you cannot expect me to accept that this is that you know. And he talks about his personal experience with that trans woman. How would you say it? So he said, because when that committed suicide, it's a long story, and then he said that when her daughter grows up, I'll say, your father was the best woman that I ever met. But anyway, and you know, like, 'cause I'll give money. I made a fund for her, and I'll give money to her for education myself with my own hands. But what I'm trying to, like, the nonsensical, like how people have. He said Twitter is not a real place, so I don't care where people get upset on Twitter. Because it's not a real.
I think with all of this stuff that's going on, it's like that time we did. People don't listen to what people are actually saying.
Yeah.
Right? The people have preconceived ideas of what they're hearing, and they'll take sound bites. We've experienced that. They'll take sound bites, jump on the bandwagon, and take it to the next level. But when you break it down and go, okay, what is this person actually saying? Then you go, okay, it might be funny. Some of it, yeah, okay, you had a laugh at me, but it makes sense. People don't do that.
Yeah.
We're not listening to each other. We're just like remember that one podcast where we had quite a bit of interest in that podcast. You did say do not take sound bites. Everybody took sound bites.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody, but a lot of people took sound bites.
Yeah, people are
And
not.
That's my point.
People are filtering, and if they don't like a phrase or a sentence,
Yeah.
according to them, then they're not willing to have a honest discussion about things.
And freedom of speech goes out the window.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they
Your
wanna-
opinion matters goes out the window. Your opinion matters.
Yeah.
And you have freedom of speech as long as it agrees with me.
Yeah, we can be corrected. Anybody can be corrected. Mistakes can be made, but to like all of a sudden, a difference of opinion becomes anger, and you know, I should defend my position if I have a view, and if it's an Islamic view, then it should be based on scholarship, and also
Like that Mufti from Australia.
Yeah, I mean, he should. That's not a nice place to be for him. You know, if he's an alim, if he really is as an alim in Australia that's saying that, then firstly he should
Bro, I
come back.
reckon it's one of those fake letters, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's an alim.
Because it said Victoria in there, so
Yeah, but that's what
but
I'm
then we
saying,
didn't have
Mufti from
helicopters
Victoria.
and
Who's
stuff,
gonna-
so I don't
yeah.
know what they're talking about.
It's just one of those fake anti-vaxxer letters. Let me.
Anyway, cancellation, people cancelling Dave Chappelle, it failed, it backfired. So the closer is in a way a masterpiece.
It is.
It is a masterpiece in the sense that he like checkmated them. Like his special confirmed anything that you do against it now, it confirms what he's saying in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He
it was kind of
preempted it.
it was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant
Yeah.
actually. It was a master stroke of He checkmated the
Comedy.
cancel culture and so forth. So, I mean, there's nothing. This is more.
What made you go straight to Dave Chapelle?
Dave Chappelle, I don't know. I just felt like that was a significant moment in the last month or two. Culturally, I think he has.
So this AUKUS deal, everything else was not as significant.
What?
The deal between Australia and Biden and Taiwan and China, all that stuff that's been going on.
No, these are social culture. Like, for example, Squid game. Squid game, is it? Yeah, Squid game.
Yeah,
the show.
I've struggled
so
to watch that show.
it's basically people that are
Poor.
and in gambling debt and so forth. They basically fight it out in games, and whoever doesn't win the game, then they get killed. It's actually sort of like it's the most. They say Netflix that is the most popular show in its history.
See, that's ugly to me. I struggled to, let me explain.
but-
I struggled to watch Squid Game just because of the premise of the show. I've seen one episode.
Yeah,
and I was
but
like, "Nah, I can't
but
watch
in
this."
reality, if you think about it, what's the show saying? The real world is like that. It's a dog eat dog world.
Rich people just play the poor and sit back and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the GFC when they were up on the balconies,
Yes.
sipping champagne and laughing at the 99? What was it? The Wall Street. What was it called?
The crash.
No, the Wall Street. It was an anti-Wall Street protest.
Yes.
What was it called?
I can't remember.
I forgot the name of it now, but it was a whole movement, right? The 99%.
Yeah,
There was a
that's
name
right.
for the protest. So but you can see the rich up on the balcony was so, and they're laughing at the protesters, making fun
And
of,
aloof
taunting
from
them,
reality.
drinking champagne and so forth. So there is the reason why people it resonates with people because there's a truth to it. Right? That's even fantasy. There's a truth to fantasy has a reality in people. That's why people like it because they see it's actually what's happening in society. So, for example, if you look at comedians, for example, we mentioned just about Dave Chappelle got 100 million for five shows. But if you look at, for example, like if you go to look at the list of the richest comedians, then you see like Seinfeld's he's got $1 billion
Wow.
just from the royalties from and there's like about another one there's like 300 million, 200 million, 100 million. So the money is like extreme. Like if you look at it, most people are trying to basically pay off a house in the world somewhere.
And now most people won't be able to pay off a house.
Or
in
they're
Australia.
renting or they're paying off a house. That's what most people, 99.99% of people probably are doing. And you got these rich people who don't pay taxes, like Elon Musk and others, and they're dodging taxes in different ways. And that's what the beauty of an Islamic system of making people pay wealth tax, not on income. So if you have $1 billion, you'll have to pay 25 million. Is it 25 million? $25 million on that every year. As long as you have that 1 billion, you'll have $25 million worth of tax every year. And if you have 100, at 10 billion, you'll be 250 million, et cetera, et cetera. So, but that Squid Game show, why it resonates with people because there's a truth in that, which is the extreme, and then the dog eat dog nature, the game that has been created.
See,
People trying to fight.
I haven't watched many episodes because it just.
There's the concept of it. Why does it resonate? Why is it in popular culture now? Because people, it resonates with what's happening in reality in society.
Those Vans shoes sales from Squid Game increased by 27,000%.
What is it?
The shoes that they wear in the
Oh,
Squid
really?
Game, and that tracksuit sold out as well.
Yeah, that's the irony of the game.
27,000%.
The game is the show is making so much money. It comes back into that capitalist system. Like even when you critique and criticize the capitalist system, like the extreme capitalism, then even that is capitalized upon as well.
Crazy.
Like it's they're selling those alarm clocks of that the green light, red light alarm clocks, and
Really?
just everything's in merchandise now. Like it's an amazing money maker.
Yes, that tracksuit.
Yeah, exactly. You see that everywhere now, like on social media. So
What is wrong with people, man? How did we get here?
People have become.
It wasn't like this 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Or am I just getting older? But how did we get here?
Yeah.
The world
Just multimedia, social media.
I don't know where to go with this right now.
Yeah.
Apart from how did we get here? How do we get out of it?
I think.
Go bush, people. Go bush.
I think people live in fantasy, or hence why you see like cosplays everywhere. People dressing up.
Yeah.
it's annoyingly everywhere. People dressing up in different masks and like superheroes.
And you see little kids like every single. I think there must be a specific TikTok dance or something, because you see people doing the same dance everywhere, from little kids to
But
older
it's-
kids. Like they're all doing this weird ass thing, and it's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like, what
Just
are you doing?
becoming old. Like we
just
don't
be
know
normal.
what's the latest. We can't keep
No,
up
no,
with
no.
it.
Even older people are doing this. You see people just doing these movements, and I keep seeing it over and over again. I'm like,
In my days, they just used to break dance.
bro, please, man, please, man.
When I was
When I was a young tacker,
you know.
we didn't even have shoes to dance in.
So we're
My dancing was avoiding the belt. when I got into trouble.
One thing I was reflecting on alim who's giving a very interesting talk. I heard this about 20 years ago. He said human beings can only think of what is possible
Okay.
in the realm of possibility. So when you deny the truth, which is the ghaib, the unseen, malaika, akhirah, hereafter, shayateen, right?
No, but we don't deny it. We can. Think
No.
it's
I'm
possible.
saying people as a society, right?
Yeah.
Like a secular Western society denies these realities.
Okay.
Right? There's nothing there to ward off shaitan in this society, in the school system or anything like that. There's something that you have to do. Like it's a
Oh, because you deny the fact that this exists.
Jannah's not in the school syllabus. Jahannam is not in the school syllabus.
So you do whatever
Shaitan
you
is
want.
not in the school syllabus. Na'uzubillah, Allah is not in the school syllabus. God is in the school syllabus. So everything is like ripped out, like reality is like taken out, and you have this very secularized, non-religious sort of weird thing. Now, what happens is after doing that for so long, was that your phone? Come on, man.
I thought I heard a beep.
Yeah, I heard a bell and none
I
of
think, it was
yeah.
nice. It was nice. It was
Astaghfirullah.
nice timing.
Your phone off. So what happens is like to compensate for reality, which we've built. It's like human beings think about reality. Hence, you see the extreme obsession with Marvel movies, extreme obsession with
I
fantasy,
don't understand that.
extreme because those things do exist. They have a reality.
Okay.
Like flying has a reality.
Okay.
Shaitan is real.
Yeah.
But if your whole society, then you're built
denies
you're
it.
built to accept that. Your fitrah is built to accept reality.
Okay. So you have
So,
to.
so for
create an
example,
alternate reality.
living forever. Like there is a life that you live forever. You'll never sick, never be sick, never die. But it's not in this dunya. It's in Jannah. But everybody wants to live forever, never die. Even though everybody dies around them, they want something that doesn't exist. So there is a life.
That's so scary, man.
There is a life that exists like that. There is Jahannam. There is Jannah. There is so because we've pushed reality, the ghaib, and the things that we're supposed to talk about, the unseen, so much, and we come into a very secular sort of so then what happens is that people fantasize about what? Like they're built for that, to accept.
Okay.
Like they're built to accept shaitan.
Yeah. Right.
So they don't believe in shaitan, but then they're dressed up as shaitan on Halloween. You know? Like they will dress it up and they'll play these fantasy roles of stuff doesn't exist.
But
Right.
maybe they're doing it because it is fantasy and it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but there's a deep need for that. Why is it such an
Do you
obsession?
think there's a deep need for it?
It's increasing, it's not decreasing. The more religious goes out, the more these things are taking their place to almost a religious level. The amount of time and money and energy spent in it.
That's pretty deep. I'm gonna have to do some thinking on that.
Yeah.
You dropped a big one on me just then.
Yeah. I was reading something on Reddit. There's a guy saying he was working on a movie set. He was working one of the, I think it was Star Trek movies or Star Trek shows. And he said the stages, he worked as a stagehand or whatever.
Yeah.
So the stages are so big because it's like a 7 or 10 season, whatever. And he said that he was locking up for the night, whatever. He said, I was walking from one end to the other, just walking through it. Like everything's closed by himself.
yeah.
He said for a split second, I thought I was on the spaceship.
Wow.
I forgot that I was,
Wow.
like I was, because it was so long.
Yeah.
So he said for a moment, I thought I was in space on a spaceship because I've been like so like there's something there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. He goes, it was such a most surreal feeling that 1 second that I had transcended whatever I was in. Like it was very interesting. Anyway,
That's
just
like me doing salat.
so human beings have a need for, Allah has created this need for something beyond the material world that we see.
Bro, that's amazing.
and the laws of physics that are in this world, because the laws of physics in this world are not really laws of physics; they're laws of Allah. So hence miracles, hence miracles, hence karamat of the awliya.
But the laws of physics for this world are only for this world, for people of means. Because you cannot look at Karamat al-Awliya and attach any.
It's
laws
not the
of
norm.
physics.
This is special. Allah gives it.
Yeah,
But
or
the point,
miracles.
but there's karamat are there and the mu'jizat are there to overwhelm you. The miracles of the prophets, they are there to overwhelm you, to submit that, this is not it, and the laws here are not subject. Allah's not limited about these laws. He's put these laws here, but He's not in any way limited to this. And when He chooses, He can remove these laws, and He can change. So Isa alayhi salam is born without a father. Musa alayhi salam can cross the water, the sea, by just hitting the staff. By the amr of Allah, he crossed
Ibrahim
it
alayhi salam in
because
the
the
fire.
miracles are not the doings of the prophets; they're the doings of Allah on the hands of the prophet. So, you gave an example. What was it?
Ibrahim alayhi salam in the fire. Just
Ibrahim
adding
alayhi salam in the
2
fire.
cents Mufti Wajid's worth.
Jazakallah khair.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam splitting the moon. Would you like to know more? Would you like
so
more?
these are not.
From my non-classical.
So there is a Allah has created the need in us to recognize that things that are miraculous, they're extraordinary, out of the ordinary.
But I think that stuff, miraculous stuff, can't be recognized using the brain. It's got to be recognized using the heart, and that's where the difference is. And our hearts are they're just social media now. Squid Game van shoes. And tracksuits.
It's of
Like,
course.
Where has the heart been given time to?
Well, the thing is that
know,
COVID
simmer.
gave us a little time breathe, and the way it's been, like for example, the US, because of these lockdowns, people said because people in that it's that wheel in the rat in the wheel, the mouse or whatever, it's in that wheel, and it's just running.
The hamster wheel.
The hamster wheel just running, and COVID stopped it. So look at now what's happening in the US with people just resigning. I'm not going to work.
Well, the missus said that. It's just quite funny because she said something like that to me today. She was like, even though the lockdown's finished, everything's not packed. Everyone's not out going crazy because they've realized I don't need it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't.
And in the US, no, people are just resigning en masse.
Really?
Because in the US is a different situation there. There's they don't have a big union.
Are you sure?
Union in Australia. Yeah. They're having trouble finding workers because they pay like $7 an hour in some places.
Don't let the Mexicans in. They'll take all our jobs.
So the thing they are basically saying like,
really,
stuff you to the big companies. Yeah, they're just walking off. It's a whole movement in the US.
I need to look at into this.
We should maybe look at it in terms of economics, and I think we're going to look at the World Bank and IMF and stuff. But I think and primary reason that triggered it is the lockdown. Because now people had a chance to think about their life and reflect. And most people don't get that chance.
What do you want to do?
That's from a worldly point of view, but it's something. People don't have a chance to think, and a lot of people just dumb. That's another thing as well. A lot of people don't. Like for example, in US, Trump supporters. Did you see this today?
No.
You know that city where JFK was assassinated? I think Dallas. So
the book
so
repository.
JFK Jr. 20 years ago died, I think, right?
Yeah, helicopter crash.
Yeah. So they were like heaps of Trump supporters were there. Apparently he's alive and in hiding.
Who is?
JFK Jr. And he's going to appear today. I'm not kidding. There's hundreds of people came. No. Hundreds of people came to welcome him, and he's going to come out today, and then he's going to join. He was a Democrat, but he was going to join Trump in the 2024 ticket.
No.
Yeah, I'm not joking. There's some weird stuff. Americans are weird.
That's like the pizza guy, where the guy went to the Domino's pizza shop with guns because they had kids hiding in the basement. Because they abducted kids and put them in the basement.
Okay. Oh, this is the child.
Yeah.
So anyway, alhamdulillah, good thing happened this week. The last week is the masjids are being reopened.
Alhamdulillah.
Daily salat now. The
Now,
numbers are.
what are the numbers? I don't know any of the details.
So this
of the
Jummah
masjid.
now, last few Jummahs
20, right?
outside 50, yeah. So we weren't letting the unvaccinated. Yeah. And the reason.
How did that go down?
Most people are sensible and.
Actually, Doncaster's got
Look, there
high
are one or
percentage
two
of
brothers I
educated
haven't
people.
seen, and I want to go visit them or at least meet them, because even if they're not taking it, that's fine. We're sort of limited in the number, and by law we're restricted, so there's not much we can do. But you can do what they do in Pakistan, make fake certificates. But anyway, that's a.
Bro, one thing I have to say in this lockdown, this last 2 years lockdown, my respect for Doncaster committee, or the whole Ummah Center committee or organizers increased quite a lot.
Okay.
Some of the stuff that they've done, I mean, I'll find out through you anyway, but you tell me, is they've really looked after their community.
Alhamdulillah.
Genuinely, I found that's one masjid that genuinely went out of its way to make sure the community was okay. I mean, the community was okay, not just the committee.
No, alhamdulillah, there's a lot of brothers
Mashallah.
and sisters that do good,
Yeah, man.
Social welfare and look out, and alhamdulillah, and we need to do more. But mashallah, there's some good, good work.
It's
going
impressive.
on
Hats off to them.
and it's a long way to go, but we have to. But alhamdulillah, overall, the masjid's opening up, and the project, the masjid, durus, everything.
Is it still 20?
No.
inside?
Now it's as of when was it? When did it change last? When was the last change?
Back to normal now.
Last Fridays, back to normal.
No social distancing.
No social. They have density quotient. 4 square
subhanallah,
meters.
interesting.
Yeah. So it's coming. It's normalizing now, alhamdulillah. And Jummah will have larger numbers. We only had 54 Jummas. We had
But
4
you've got to
Jummas.
be vaccinated.
You have to be
double
vaccinated.
vaxxed.
Yeah. Yes. Because we're not an essential service.
My thing with the whole double vaccine
Sadly.
is if you go into the masjid, if you're not allowed to go to the masjid because you're not double vaxxed,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be double vaxxed in case you can't have kids anymore, or you die, or you become a number. But if you get that vaccination with the intention of, Ya Allah, I'm against all this because, I don't want to become a number, but I'm doing this for the sake of going to your masjid. I mean, isn't that rewarding in itself?
Breaking the law and going to the masjid.
No, getting vaxxed for the reason of going to the masjid. So you're an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what I said to my students. It'll be sad if you had to do it from worldly jobs, but you didn't do it so you can get the reward for deen. It's just something. Just have to rip the band-aid off.
You got to do it for work. So you do it for work, but
for money.
You won't do it.
That's
but
what
you won't do
everybody's
it for
doing.
the masjid.
Even this whoever this person wrote, they said I'm doing is we tried to last minute. Yeah, because your job now is on the line. So people will do for money. They'll do everything.
So it's better to do it earlier and have the intention.
Make sure you make more money.
Ya Allah, I'm doing this for the sake of being able to go to the masjid.
So let's not talk about COVID anymore. I'm getting COVID fatigue.
I'm just fatigued from the weekend.
We were looking at one point air taxis. Now that's coming up soon.
Let's talk about air taxis.
flying Uber or flying cars that are going to come to Victoria very soon.
Would you get in it?
Let me couple of hundred rides before me.
The principle is,
and people bigger than me.
There's no pilots. These are fully automated.
Yeah. You're not
take off from one place, land in another place.
We know that if certain nationalities ride, they're going to have accidents. We're not going to mention which nationalities, but but
that's why you want them automated.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, sorry. It's like when you're like, say you're 100 feet up in the air. Sorry's not going to cut the mustard. It's not a bumper that you've just hit.
Yeah, you'll be just doing like crashing into buildings. It'll be like 100 911s. It's terrible. But
at least we're Muslim drivers at that.
Imagine accidents like 100 meters up in the air.
Yeah, how do you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to comfortably.
Well, they've got built-in parachutes in the case it's like airbags. They'll have a parachute that will shoot out. Yeah.
Yeah, that gives me.
And they have to give there's air corridors. So you can't just fly anywhere. You'll have to fly along certain routes.
Yeah, so you'd have to make your way to a certain point, jump in this air taxi.
And it'll be in certain air corridors.
How much is that going to cost as well to take a ride in that?
I have no idea. But there's positives and negatives. I can't see how, let's say if you live in Rye, if you cut across Port Phillip Bay, that'll be sick. If you're, that'll be sick because you just flew over. You don't have to go all the way around Frankston.
Yeah, but you're over all that water.
Exactly. Yeah, but so what? It can be like a boat. It's got the point is that you'll be actually skip.
I would do it.
That would be makes sense.
So you'd wait a couple of hundred rides?
I'll see. I think once it catches on, and
I'd love to be the first guy doing that.
What to go in Dubai? I think they've already started testing, and there's drones already. It's like a drone basically. So
yeah.
But
with people, live humans.
I think they're about to kick off with that. Yeah, they got money to burn, so whether it works or not, that's. So
and they'll put all the foreign workers in as.
I mean, I can't see how that will be greatly advantageous.
No, what are you talking about? Peak hour traffic.
If you fly from here, Lawn or something like that.
If you fly from city to Doncaster in peak hour traffic, you're gonna get there in 5 minutes. 10 minutes, as opposed to 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, but then if you have like 100 or like 200 people doing the same thing.
but they're all automated. So they could fly close to each other, whatever. They'll still work.
In Australia, nothing's going to knock off the personal vehicle. The car.
Of course not. I'm not.
Because nothing... I caught an Uber the other day for something, right? My car was somewhere else, so I caught an Uber. The idea of waiting 5 minutes for an Uber to arrive and then have to go, it's just jumping in your own car. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Nothing will take over jumping
Australia's
in your own car.
Our infrastructure is we're not like New York or Tokyo. Japan's like specifically made, like if you want to see like how public transport, for example, works, Japan made sure that the way they live is they're built up, so that train stations away from you like 100 meters, I think, anywhere you are in Tokyo, something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The closest train station.
I think so, something, or even less than that, I can't remember. So when you have built an infrastructure like that, where you basically but you build, and within 100 meters, all the things you'll ever need are there because it's so densely packed.
Yeah.
So like you'll have your pharmacy, within 100 meters, food, anything that you need is within 100 meters. So when you live like that, like when they're smart the way they did it, that's
but that's because they like cities and they like to be that close. That's too much for them.
But New York is like that as well. They made New York like that as well. Yeah. So the point is that you got to have like a bigger vision of a city than like we just spreading out in all directions, and that public transport is like hopeless.
No, it's not coping.
Yeah, it's hopeless in the sense of like trains are in all directions, and then there's like they're trying to make a loop around the city now, and a train loop, and there's a bus sort of loop.
Well, that's where the flying taxis will come in.
But I've seen it with my students who are like coming from Dandenong just to Heidelberg, or from there to anywhere.
On public transport.
Yeah, some of them coming transport like an hour and a half. It's painful. Like listen to them. Like they're all right.
That is a painful trip.
Because 7:00 we start in class. I figured out. I realized how rubbish the public transport is in Melbourne, because if you have to go across the city, like if you're going into the city, it's fine.
It's good.
But if you're going across the city, is the worst. And then you have like these bus like circular.
Because you got to come in and come out.
Exactly. Even when I was studying in Monash, lived in Doncaster, so you have to do like a big V. Like you go to a Richmond station, and then you have to go down to to Monash. Caulfield, yeah, exactly.
That's where I first met you.
Yeah.
Under the train tracks.
No. I met you in the tunnel in Monash. Yeah. 20, exactly 20 years ago. When we were in kindergarten.
Yeah, that's right. I'm 27. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
Damn.
Alhamdulillah, we're back. Alhamdulillah, it's good to be back, and I think we'll call it a night, inshallah.
All right, mashallah. We had many
there
more
is
topics.
we had a lot of topics, but I think we've taken enough, probably a lot of time and just getting back.
The next
Lata's not here, unfortunately, as well, and we sort of I said to the guys, Lata said he couldn't come, and usually Irfan, he's here with the camera and he's helping out and stuff. He's not here. Ahmed's taking over today. So he's not here either. So I said, no, we just got to get started, get into the studio and record, inshallah. So whatever.
And say g'day to all the listeners.
Alhamdulillah.
And go bush. Take these air taxis. What else did we? Make sure you get vexed. Go to the masjid and listen to Dave Chapelle, the closer.
No. I mean, it's up to you. Like we sort of give you some. We're not.
Okay. He's not going to say it.
We're not encouraging you
but
to
I'm
listen
telling
to
you,
Dave Chapelle or watch Squid Game or anything like that.
No, I'm not encouraging Squid Game. That just does my head in. But Dave Chapelle, I'm like, go for it, man. It was a masterpiece.
And just one last thing, Maulana Kalim Siddiqui in India,
Dua for him.
a great da'i. He was arrested. I think he may be out of jail now. I'm sure, for people becoming Muslim on his hand. So although if you want to see oppression, people in Australia talking about oppression. Real oppression is people like that who are giving da'wah to Allah, and because people became Muslim on his hand, he's been arrested, he's in jail. And someone who knows him and spent time with him, he said something, advice. This alim was having problems. He was telling me himself, and he said that I was having problems, and I went to him, I said, Sheikh, I've got in my area or this and that, I have problems in da'wah and so forth. He said,
from non-Muslims?
Like different things, issues that he said, in Urdu he said, ye masail nahi, ye wasail hai. These are not problems, these are means.
Explain.
Like meaning that this situation that you put in, whatever difficulties you've been put through, these are to build you up, not to tear you down, to break you.
Subhanallah.
This is actually going to propel you even further. All the stress and things that you're going through, this is not to break you. These are wasa'il, these are means to greater ends. This is a way to develop you. And
I haven't heard the word wasa'il before.
it's Arabic, yeah. So these are the means to get you somewhere else. This is
That
not
wasn't part of my mufti course.
this is where you don't even know your own mother tongue was Urdu, and so which come from Arabic. But these are not masail. These are not issues and problems. These are so may Allah Subhanahu wa Taala bring him back from this situation, his jail and so forth. And this is a sign of the Ahlullah, that people real da'is, and it's the prophetic sunnah, right? Prophets were persecuted, arrested, and jailed, and so it's a test from Allah. But we make dua for him because we're proud to be in the same ummah as a person like that. That in this time and age, he's like thousands and thousands got hidayah through him. Maulana Kaleem Siddiqui.
Yeah.
So we make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring him out of that difficulty. It was one of the items that we wanted to address. But there's other items, but I felt that I don't want to leave this till next week because I'll be thinking about it.
No,
we remember him.
Everyone needs to just a collective dua, inshallah.
Yeah, so, and give us a bit of time to get back into the swing of things. And Lata, inshallah, will join us next week, hopefully. Jazakumullah khairah for joining us.
Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. Leave some comments down below. And I haven't said that for a long time.
Yeah, and don't try to guess which nationality would be bad taxi drivers. Anyway, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Everyone already knows, bro.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.